Hey there, my name is Matt, your 7-figure commercial cleaning CEO. We built our company from 0 to over 7 figures in less than 5 years. And one of the key things that we did to do this was by hiring good operations managers and good management to run our company. And what we recently did was upgraded ourselves and our company to hiring a director of operations. And in this video, we're gonna show you exactly how you can find and attract and win the operations manager that's gonna help grow your business and keep your customers forever. The two things that you need to know how to do in order to make the best decision for your business and so it doesn't backfire on you and you hire the wrong person is we first gotta focus on how do we attract the right candidates, and then how do we actually filter them down into the one that we're gonna select. Now, before we can attract the right candidate, let's talk about what the right candidate is. And this can depend on your strategy for growing your business, but here's how I have grown mine, is we have always looked at how can we take someone who really could be at this level in some other company, and our company might be operating right here, but how can we get them to take a step backwards temporarily and carry us up to that level and beyond. That's what we have done in our business to help us grow, is bring in next level talent to help push us and bring our results forward as we continued to grow. So yes, the right candidate might be able to go work at a manufacturing facility and run the entire plant and make $200,000 a year, or they could come work for you for much less but have an incredible upside opportunity down the road. Or your perfect candidate needs the direct industry experience, so they might be coming out of a larger commercial cleaning company, something like an ABM. Over here we have one called the Bud Group, or there's GDI, these huge commercial cleaning companies that are out there, and they might want to step out of that large corporate environment and come into the smaller business environment and help build your company to those levels. Or your commercial cleaning company might be at the level where you just need a manager, someone with management experience. Maybe they weren't making 6 figures previously, but they are your first major hire to help run your company without your involvement. So keeping that in mind, just know what your ideal candidate is, where they're from, ideally what they bring to the table. Are you trying to have someone take a step backwards and grow your company to where they're at and then go beyond? What is your strategy? Now we can take this information and your desires and your goals and what your company needs and plug it in to what you're gonna do for hiring. Here in our company, we use Indeed a lot. We've had lots of success with using Indeed to hire, but you can use any job board, but you don't even have to use job boards as well. Again, you can promote internally. We do check our networks. We've even had some client discussions about we're hiring for this role. Do you know anybody who you would like to see operate within the business? So don't forget to put the word out to anyone who you think might be a good fit for it. But we're gonna move forward like we're putting a job posting out on a job board. I'm gonna be working from Indeed here, but again, you can do the same thing on any job board. What we need to remember when writing our job descriptions is there are tons of other opportunities out there for employment, typically for high caliber individuals. They even have some personal connections. They might be evaluating. People might be offering them extra money because people know how well they work. So when we do this job posting, it needs to be good. It needs to bring them in and engage with them, and it needs to build a drive in them and an excitement that they're not gonna get anywhere else. So here is how I structure my job descriptions to attract these high caliber individuals. First, we got our hook. This is just a simple statement right at the top of the job description. I typically bold it and ask a question. Here's an example of a hook that I've used in the past. Want to build something great? This is a rare opportunity to be on the ground floor of an expanding brand. That will catch the attention of most people who are out there looking for jobs because it's going to be unusual to find an opportunity like that. Now, you may not be in that scenario. You may be beyond where my company's at. You may be in the 8 or 9 figures with your commercial cleaning business. You got to find what is that hook? What's the appeal that you want to put out there as the primary reason that people would be interested in working with you and not somebody else. And then right after the hook, the second thing that we make sure we cover here is context. The goal of context is to then catch them up to speed on the story of your company and then prepare them for how they're going to fit in to the company at that ground floor level or whatever level they're going to be at or whatever hook you established with them. So usually what we do is spend 1 or 2 paragraphs right here just saying, here's the history of our company, here's how we got to where we're at, here's where we're wanting to go. Then we take the next part, which is our third piece to the description here, and that is the mission. So what is your mission, Mr. Operations Manager, should you choose to accept it? And in this mission section, what we will usually do is give some sort of vision. So 5 years out, this is what the company is going to look like. And here's what we want you to do to contribute to us achieving that vision as a company. So be sure to spell something out because you've given them context, right? Now they need a timeline to go with where we're going and what the objectives are to get them excited. Now they're set up for the next part. So they're looking forward to learning more about the details of this position. But before they do, we need them to self-qualify. I like to call this the gut check. And ultimately what the gut check is it is a statement of this operations manager position is for you if, and then you list out all the different qualities and things that you need this person to exhibit. Not duties, but more like values and personalities. Here's an example of one from an operations manager posting we did. It says, "You've been mortified when you discovered that any of your clients have had an unprofessional interaction with your company." They need to be able to have a story about that or be able to recollect a time where they were mortified about something like that, because you don't want to hire someone that's okay, that doesn't really care about having a professional experience, and it's not going to bother them if a client doesn't have a high-end experience. And here's another one. You've demonstrated success at retaining clients that would normally have canceled services. So you see how these aren't exactly duties, but these are more qualities that this person has either achieved in their life or that they exhibit right now or have exhibited at some point. So once you have clearly spelled out what this person is like that will succeed in this role and this position is for you if, you need to do the opposite. It doesn't need to be as big of a list, but you do need to have a section that says this position is not for you if, and call out any scenarios. For example, for our regular cleaner positions, we say, if you need a ride everywhere you go, this position is not for you. So you need to be able to spell that out for your operations directors and managers and any other roles that you hire as well. Even though you might have some of those positive qualities, who is this absolutely not for? And if anybody exhibits any of those, they should not move forward. Now that we've done our gut check, this is when we can get into our duties and our summaries and what is our role going to look like. So we do have a duty summary that is next that just spells out, here's what your role is going to do on a day-to-day basis in general. And then we actually list out the individual sections like client relations, employee relations and supervision, if they're involved in any sales and marketing, if they're involved in any of the financial aspects of the company. We want to spell out each of their duties in each of the sections that they're going to be involved with inside of the company. And then finally, after we list out the duties and the duties summary, we're going to list the compensation details, and we're going to list out any other direct qualifications, such as a bachelor's degree or so much experience in such and such industry or in such and such role. Once all of that is listed, it is a really good idea, especially for a small business owner, to have a personal paragraph encouraging them to apply to the position if this is a good fit for them and if it's something they're interested in. I like to sign mine off with my name of Matt Pincarina, CEO of our company. So when you build your job description out that way, it's going to stand out far above and beyond all the other job descriptions that are out there, because all the others are going to be very dry, generic. The companies might talk too much about themselves. They're not going to provide as much clarity as you have, and it's going to be very appealing to someone who is detailed and who is looking for a good opportunity. Okay, so that's what we're going to do to attract great operations director and management candidates for our company. But what do we do once they've applied? There's 4 phases of screenings and interviews that we do in our company that help us select the best candidates. The first thing you want to do is have an immediate phone screening done with them. Now, the phone screening is an easy way to disqualify many people who are just going through the job boards and clicking apply. What you're going to do is just relay what the job description is, because they may have applied for 20 different jobs. So what we do is call them, introduce ourselves, and just say this is the first step in our interview process, and we just read the requirements of the role. We might phrase it a little bit differently. We'll even mention the compensation. There's not so much questions and answers back and forth. It's more so that we know that they know that what they applied for is what they're wanting. Because at the end of that call, it's, are you still interested in this role and want to move forward? That keeps everyone on the same page, moving forward and clear about us as a company and the requirements of the role. And that not only keeps us all on the same page, but it keeps eager candidates excited to move forward. The ones that are really good are going to be attracted to a phone screening opportunity because we reached out fast. They're having an interaction fast. And that speed tells them this is a legitimate thing and I should pay more attention to it than all these other opportunities out there that maybe haven't even reached out to them for days. So leverage the phone screening, do it. It can be really quick. Just read off how the job's going to work and make sure that they agree with how it's going to move forward. If they have any initial questions, they might be able to ask some basic stuff, but really what you're setting them up for is the next step. And that next step is what we like to call the skills essay. So before I get into how to use a skills essay, the reason it is so crucial to do this is because it's going to weed out anyone who is still not serious, and it's going to make people shine that are going to be fantastic candidates. Because a lot of the communication that happens when dealing with operations, and what this role will do is they're going to be texting, they're going to be calling, they're going to be writing emails, they're going to be communicating a lot via written methods. And you want to make sure that they can think through things in a very deep way and process in a deep way and communicate clearly with your clients. So instead of immediately inviting them to a conversation where we might waste our time or get lied to or put our hopes and dreams into them already, we want them to prove it a little bit first. So what you'll do is you'll just invite them to complete the skills essay, which you can set up as a Word document. You email it to them and they email the response back to you, and you can evaluate the answers. So on your skills essay, you do want to say, please respond to this, send it back to this email, and then you want to give them some context first about your company, how it operates, what they can expect from the workforce. Then you can give them a specific scenario. And what we like to do is give them true scenarios that have happened in our company to see how they would respond and how they would solve them. Our most popular way of doing this is to actually copy and paste client emails into the essay and provide them some context saying, this is a client that was about to cancel. Here's what they said. Now come down here and answer these following questions. So the assignment would look something like this. On a separate document, write a short essay on how you would handle the situation. Be sure to answer the following questions within the essay. What are your first thoughts when you get this email from the client? What do you say to the client? What's your objective whenever you respond? How do you approach finding out the root of the problem? And even for every root problem that does come to your mind, what's your plan to fix this with the team and the operation? How do you oversee the solution and ensure permanent fixes? What do you do, ask, or say, or tell the team? And then, do you have any other thoughts or questions because of this situation, or that has any other implications? So whenever you give them context, you give them the scenario, and then you ask them to answer these questions as their assignment, you're going to be gauging how quickly do they respond, how clear is their response, what are their convictions when they're doing this, how well does their response align for what you're wanting in an operations manager, is their writing professional, is their spelling correct, is their grammar sharp? And this skills essay will either get people excited to work for you, which is who you want, right? Or it's going to deter them. It's another filter so you don't waste your time putting your hope in a candidate that you might end up approving and them not doing a good job in the role of operations manager of your company. Now, once you've got the skills essay back and you've approved who's moving forward next, we're going to invite them to what's called the skills interview. Now, contrary to what some might think, this skills interview is not there to review the skills essay. It is actually there to go even further. The goal of the skills interview is not to get them to say, yes, I know how to do this or I know how to do that. The real objective is to see if you can learn something from them. What do they know that you don't know? You want to, again, pose scenarios that they haven't heard before, at least from the interview stuff so far. You want to ask them questions that's going to help you understand the deeper side of their operational knowledge in building a business. So you can start off with surface level questions like, what types of software are you familiar with? And then you can dive in. Which one was your favorite? Why was your favorite? What modifications did you make to it? It was made to do this. Why did you do it this way? And you can actually learn a lot from the skills interview on how to build your company. We like to break our skills interview into 3 main sections, and so we want to ask some questions that fall into these categories. Their industry skills. So do they know how to do procedures on floors? Do they know how to do carpet cleaning, strip and wax, standard cleaning? You can even pose to them some specific scenarios in your company. How would you solve this sticky floor problem? And just open it up and see what chemicals they bring up and methods they bring up. We've learned a lot by doing that. The second area of questions that we ask is pertaining to cleaner management. How do they go about hiring, firing, managing, their people skills with the internal employees. How do they get people to do things that maybe they originally didn't want to do? How do they keep people longer that would have left earlier? Or how do they keep people for less pay as opposed to going to a higher paying job? And then the third area we're going to ask questions about is their client management skills. This does reflect a little bit based off what the skills essay example was that we just talked about, but you can go even deeper with this. What are their quality control methods that they can bring to the table that they're used to doing to keep problems from ever arising in the first place? Do they have a rhythm of communication with clients that they like, that they found is best? Those are the kind of things that you want to learn from them about in the skills interview. And again, your perfect candidate will be able to teach you things because they're going to know more about the job than you do. So that's a skills interview. And at this point, we've screened them, we've evaluated their skills, they submitted an essay, we're learning a lot about them. Now we can have that CEO interview with them or the owner interview with them. Whoever they're going to be reporting to, that is the person that this interview is going to be with. And in this interview, you can cover all kinds of things. You want to get their values. You want to share the vision of the company. This is where you can really get them excited about the role, but you want to gauge them and see how they're responding to the vision of the company. And this final interview can take many different forms. This is where you have a lot of flexibility because now you know a lot about them. You can ask some follow-up questions. You can share the vision of your company and get them excited about the potential of moving forward. You can gauge their responses and their interaction with you to see if there's someone you really want to work with. This is the interview that a lot of people jump to first, and then they make a really quick decision without doing all the pre-work ahead of time. But ultimately, this final interview is to make sure that they are a good fit for your company and then to sell them on working with you instead of going somewhere else. But you still don't want to offer them the job in this interview because that can come across unprofessional and you don't want to make any rash decisions. But at this point, you've learned a lot about them. Now, along with how to pick a great manager for your company by using these methods, you also need to pay them in such a way that's going to keep them at your company and incentivize them to grow your business with you. That is what you can do when you watch this video, is learn how to pay an operations manager or any manager in your company in such a way to where they're incentivized with your company goals, everything is aligned, and your commercial cleaning business can grow faster and faster. So go check it out, and until next time, keep building.